Hope all you guys are doing well today. Today's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful Monday, start of the week. Nice time to start everything off on a good note. And sometimes you need that, especially if things haven't been going well. So with that all being said, before we get into any type of discussion, hope your headspaces are okay. Hope your friends are treating you right. Hope you're treating your friends right. Today we're going to be discussing humility and being humble without self-deprecating or insulting yourself and not being kind, not being true to yourself, not really recognizing your abilities and who you are as a person. Because a lot of people mistake being confident and being humble for being arrogant and cocky, and I'll expand more on that. But some people take self-deprecation as being humble when it's the exact opposite. Really, when it comes to confidence versus arrogance, the difference is how you treat yourself and how you treat other people, how you view yourself and how you view those around you. Someone who's arrogant, someone who's very prideful will view others as beneath them and nowhere near their league, nowhere in their ability range, versus someone who's confident, who knows their self-worth, who knows what they're good at, knows they're not the best in the world, but still recognizes their self-worth and the fact that they're not the worst either. They're still very appreciative of their progress and how far they've come. That's really part of the big difference between the two. Those who end up self-deprecating may not be secure with themselves and may view themselves as giving themselves too much credit if they accept a compliment coming from someone else. For instance, how many times have you talked to someone and told them they were good at something, and the first thing out of their minds isn't like, the first thing out of their mouths isn't thank you, isn't oh I appreciate the compliment, it's oh yeah but, and then it links to some type of self-deprecating comment right after that. For instance, a streamer friend of mine, I was in their stream the other day, I'm not gonna say who, but they said somebody said they were really good at Apex, and they were like, oh thanks, but I'm a bot. That's self-deprecation. That's not being humble, that's self-deprecation. Or if you tell someone they're good at fighting games and they're like, oh thanks, but I'm trash, in their mind they're probably not even aware that they're doing it or that it's self-deprecation. They might be thinking that they're being humble, or they might think you're being a little disingenuous and giving them too much credit. But 9 times out of 10, when someone's saying this, they're comparing themselves to the upper ceiling in whatever hobby, sport, job, whatever they're doing. And that's where they think they need to be. That they might have the mistaken notion that that's the average player, or that if they're not there, they don't deserve compliments. If they're not really good to the point where both themselves and other people on the outside recognize it, it won't mean anything to them. That dress is nice, but yeah, but I need to lose weight. Exactly. Like, come on now. If you lost weight, you wouldn't be filling out that dress the same. You know, it's one of those. Enjoy what you have, flaunt what you got. It's okay to be confident. Being confident in your abilities and realizing what your self-worth is does not make you arrogant. That's where confidence stems from. Confidence stems from the facts and our accomplishments and things that we know we can do. It's the moment where you don't have anything to back up that type of confidence that it becomes arrogance, and where you start viewing others as beneath you because of your confidence and because of your accomplishments that makes you arrogant and prideful. For instance, someone who was once broke and all of a sudden is rich may turn out a couple of different ways. They might be a lot more frugal as a result of being poor at one time, or they might view others who were in the situation they were in as painful reminders of that time and may not want to help them because they view themselves as better for getting out of that situation, and are even insulted about being compared to that person because they don't want to be reminded of who they once were. I would do that all the time when my friends call me out on it, made me wake up and decide to work on it. Yeah, and a lot of us do it subconsciously. A lot of us aren't even aware of the fact that we do it. And it's very hard to get out of, especially if you aren't aware of it. If you don't have people around you who can pick up on it, or you're not picking up on it, it can sometimes be linked to you fundamentally as a person, especially if you don't like yourself. It's hard to just kind of like wake up one day and snap out of it. It takes time. I don't like being that person that's like, oh, this thing is bad, don't do it. But I like to be the person that gives a little couple examples here and there, just to give people a better idea of what they should do, right? Because it's a very important thing, you know. It's very important to know the difference between being humble and self-deprecation. So like one thing you can do is like, if someone compliments you on your fight, unlike for example your fighting game abilities, or maybe your speech, your positive habits and stuff, there's something called sharing the spotlight. Just being thankful for who got you to that point, as well as your own abilities. It's like, you know, if you're a really good football player, you could be like, oh, you know, thanks, yeah, you know, I really worked hard at it, but my coach really got me to where I needed to be. I appreciate that, Insomnia. You weren't here first, but you were the first one to redeem it, so I'll take it. But yeah, it also helps to be realistic and actually keeping a realistic outlook on it. You don't have to be the greatest at every single thing that you do, but you can appreciate your progress. If you're someone who can cook which is already a big deal alone. I wouldn't expect you to say the same restaurant food quality that 5-star chefs make on a day-to-day basis. Like, don't get me wrong, if someone's giving you constructive criticism on your cooking and it's not the best, acknowledge that, move forward from it, learn from it. But if it's someone who's constantly tearing you down and just like all around thinks your cooking is bad and what you're doing is awful, if it's not up to their standards, that's not something you need to pay attention to.